Welcome back to Tire of Topics, a segment where we let a soft Pirelli tire select what topics we're going to talk about. Because silly season has ramped up, especially since we have a new driver on the grid. And there are, I think almost every driver on the grid is on this tire with something silly season adjacent for us to talk about. So we obviously can't talk about all of them right now. So we're going to let the tire pick which ones we discussed today. Summer break is going on all month. We are going to be making Grid Walk episodes through the full summer break. We're not missing a week, so make sure you come back and spend some F1 time with us, even if there's no active racing right now. So we'll probably get through all of these stories by the end of summer break, but Tyra's going to pick where we start. All right. You ready, Nicole?
Spin the wheel! Spin the tire! Guys, there's a real tire spinning. I need everyone to go watch this. No way! Oh my god, this is gonna be the spiciest start. Holy! Wow!
It gave us... So, there's most drivers on this wheel, if you're not watching on YouTube. This looks rigged. It literally landed on the most interesting, spiciest topic, which is the Red Bull number 2 seat. Which is us talking about Ricciardo, Yuki, Perez, Liam Lawson, insert magical driver here.
Me?
You?
No, I'm bad in the simulator. We've seen it. I can't drive. I can drive a normal car.
Okay, yeah, I just want to be clear. Nicole's actually a fantastic driver.
Not in the simulator.
Not when she has to go fast. So I do think there's a lot that we've talked a lot about here. Like, if you want our thoughts about just overall, listen to any of the last 3 episodes, including the "Oh my gosh, Daniel Ricciardo is back on the grid" episode. I think we give some decent thoughts about this. So the angle I would love to go here is assuming that Checo is not coming back next season, because I think that's more interesting. And let's talk more about the rumors of all the other drivers who've been connected to this seat who are not Yuki Tsunoda, Daniel Ricciardo, or Liam Lawson. Because, I mean, Yuki is an untapped potential. Liam, they've pretty much said, is going to get an AlphaTauri seat. Like, he's not going to go directly into the Red Bull seat. And I think we all know that if what we're looking for out of that seat is a competitive number 2, it's probably not going to be Daniel Ricciardo.
No, I love Daniel Ricciardo. Putting Daniel Ricciardo in the number 2 seat is putting someone that would probably, I believe would be what, Red Bull wants. It'll be someone that would maybe, perform to a level, but not better than Max, but, could just be there enough that they're gonna have the constructors solidified and, P1, P2, drive, they don't want anyone touching them there, but they want Max there, and then I think Daniel Ricciardo would be a good second to Max. But as a person who's not a Red Bull fan, I don't want that kind of driver in the car, so there's a lot of confusion in my brain.
Well, I also am not convinced that he's going to be better than Checo,
which we also that's a lot of this is we just don't really know. I don't feel like I've seen enough to fully answer that.
So let's take those 3 drivers out of this seat for a second. Red Bull is going to be just as dominant next season, so we need a second driver to compete with Max. Nicole, who are you putting in that seat for pure entertainment value purposes? Lewis Hamilton excluded, because we would never do that to Lewis. Even though we want him to be competitive, we don't want him to have to be on Red Bull. So who would you put next to that seat, not including Lewis Hamilton?
Put Lando Norris in the Red Bull.
Yeah, I mean, he's been connected to it a lot, but Lando has turned down Red Bull so
followed
many times.
Them on Instagram.
Yeah, I hope it's been Lando.
100% was just he was ha ha he he, which very funny. And then, I mean, you could say a Ferrari would have been my other guess, but I think the wildest would be Lando Norris.
I want Fernando.
Ooh, oh my god, I take back exactly what I just said about Lando being the wildest, and it's definitely Fernando. Wow.
All right.
Words. Next.
Let's spin again. It's going round. It's going round. And Carlos Sainz. All right, landed right between the.
Getting the spicy ones today.
Yeah. So both of the Ferrari drivers have a contract through 2025, and yet I think I've read like an enormous amount of press and reporting about them negotiating their contracts. Or no, wait, I got that wrong. I think they both have contracts through 2024, like through the end of next year.
From when we've played Red Flags, Charles finishes his contract in 2024.
Yes. Okay, so they both have contracts through 2024. So technically they're still under contract for all next year, but there is so much coverage right now about both of them negotiating contracts and deals. And then just this week it came out that Carlos's dad who does a lot of his negotiations, is like talking to other teams, particularly like Audi coming in 2026 has been a rumor for a while. I don't know how to feel, but the scariest thing that happened as a Carlos Sainz fan is that Ferrari announced a new beer partnership, and that makes me nervous because Carlos's main sponsor is a beer, and he brings that to every team he goes to, so does that mean Carlos Sainz is leaving Ferrari? Because I don't think I'm going to be able to take it.
And exactly what I said to you last week when you had this spiral, even though you had a great rebuttal to this point, maybe Carlos is no longer being represented by Estrella anymore. Maybe they've just decided to part ways, I say earnestly.
You don't believe that?
I don't believe it, because as soon as you sent that headline of like, well, they can't have two beer sponsors, and Peroni makes so much more sense for Ferrari to have than Estrella Garcia, but like Carlos, yeah, that's a red flag. But I don't think Carlos would go without a seat. Like, I think that's but then there needs to be a seat to go. But I don't foresee him, like, not being on the grid.
Yes, I agree with that. So I'm not, like, massively stressed. And I don't think that Ferrari's going to end his contract at the end of this season. Like, I think we're really talking about but the beer sponsor starts next year. I'm just stressed. I don't have any more words.
Our marketing brains, if you're new here also, we love marketing, and gosh, that just points you in all of the right directions. So I think you have a really solid point of being concerned about that announcement, because competition rules and clauses and all of those things, like there's definitely there's no way that these major beers are making these agreements with Ferrari and not saying that they have like a non-competitors clause, like exclusivity clause, unless maybe Peroni just gave them so much money that they had to accept the deal, and then maybe like Estrella will just continue to be like an only Carlos sponsor. But then there'd be panic. All right. Anyway, I think we spin the wheel to not freak out about Carlos.
Ooh, Nico. Right. Yeah. So Nico dyed his hair because he wanted more press attention, and it's decently reported that he is lobbying for a seat in a different team because he's doing so well in the Haas. And what are your thoughts?
The first when I saw the blonde hair, I was like, why? Nico has great hair. I mean, the press thing makes sense though. Because I was like, if you're gonna make like such a not drastic change, and that becomes headline news in Formula One, or just to get enough people, like demonstrates that enough people will just talk about you because you made like that kind of change to your appearance, definitely can show teams that like people care about you and are interested in you. And it
was a brilliant move.
It was a very, very smart move. Alex Albon, dye your hair. Again, please, but don't leave Williams.
No. Well, he's not on. Oh no, he is on this, but not because he is at risk of leaving Williams. It was because of a different story. But I think so much of the driver's market right now hinges on what Red Bull chooses to do, that I don't necessarily see an avenue for a seat, but I also didn't see Fernando Alonso going to Aston Martin.
Just takes one. Yeah, it just takes, Seb joining Instagram for suddenly Nico Hulkenburg to end up on the grid. Like,
yeah. Happy anniversary. I think the day we're recording this, by the way, is the 1 year anniversary of Fernando Alonso's announcement. And then being on a boat without service, but then he was really just hanging out in Spain.
I still just I will never forget the feeling of Seb joined Instagram. Seb posted a black and white video. Oh no. Like it was just such a roller coaster. I'll never forget it.
No.
Anyway, this is about Nico.
Red Bull seat?
That's my response. That's it. I can't
If that happens, if he gets either AlphaTauri or Red Bull, I'm clipping that out and bragging about that till the end of time.
If that happens, I will go buy a platinum blonde wig that literally matches his exact haircut, and I'll wear it for an entire episode. Thank you for listening to this highlight from episode of 28 of Gridwalk. Don't forget to like and subscribe for a ton of more F1 videos. Also, you made it this far into this video, so watch the rest of the podcast. Click here to watch the full thing. It's right here. Ready? Click, 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 click.